What's up, bitches? Got a long drive ahead of me. So, figure I'll talk for a little bit. I've had some interesting happenings. Today's Friday. Within the last few days, I've had some very interesting happenings and interesting thoughts and new experiences that have led me to new thoughts that I've never, had before. So, figured I'd talk about it. A lot of it revolves around demons and demon possession, demonic influence, and the forces of darkness at large, and how that is the polar opposite to the Holy Spirit dwelling inside of someone, or possession by the Holy Spirit, and being breathed on by the Holy Spirit, or being acted upon by the Spirit. And how the forces of light are, the forces of the Holy Spirit are the forces of light, and that's what we fight the forces of darkness with. So the forces of light are, like I just said, the Holy Spirit, which, I don't know, maybe you can call it the Spirit of Truth, capital T, truth. Maybe that's a different thing as well, but either way, the Spirit of Truth is a force of light. The Spirit of Love, truth and love, good, capital G, good. All things that come directly from God are the forces of light, for sure. We've got the good, the true, the beautiful, and then you've got love and reality. Those seem to be like the five main, real good forces of light, and those are all encompassed by the Holy Spirit, I believe. So if you want a diagram, we could try and think like the Holy Spirit encompasses all the forces of light, which involve good, true, beautiful, love, and reality. And then the Holy Spirit descends from the outer sphere into the center, which is the I and the human being, the race of man, descends and dwells inside of us. So that is also embodying those forces of light as well as encompassing it. As within, so without. It's on the outside and on the inside as well, if we truly accept it into our hearts and invite it in. And that's, it works the same way with the forces of darkness and demon possession. You have to invite them in. These demons, these dark spirits, do not have any power over you unless you give it to them. They cannot forcefully enter your spirit. They cannot take control without your will accepting them. And there's a lot of ways you can do that. There's only one way you can accept them in, but there's a lot of ways you can get to that point. Psychedelics are a big thing that open people up to the spiritual world. They just, that's how I think of psychedelics today, is that what they do is for one, they just open you up. They make you more open to everything, but also open to the spiritual world, which is, of course, part of everything. But psychedelics can make you see beyond physical reality into the spiritual reality as well. And you become open to it and open to everything, and that leaves you in a vulnerable state. Psychedelics make you a very vulnerable person because you are completely open to anything and everything. And this is where the forces of darkness come to your side and whisper words of seemingly truth and, good things, but it's only to entice you and get you to bite. And then you invite them in and you accept the deal, and then they're a part of you. And then they give you lie after lie after lie that is built on top of that truth that they initially gave you, this is how the forces of darkness work. This is how evil communicates. It gets you to think they're telling the truth first by actually giving you little tidbits of truth, like a little something to make you think that what they're going to tell you is truth and reality. So they give you a little something first, which makes you be like, oh wow, maybe I can trust this person. They've got some gravy. And then once they get you to bite, once you accept the deal and you're invested, they pile lie after lie on top of that base of truth. And that's how these forces of darkness get you to believe them and get you to do their bidding and accept their will. It's all manipulation and it is manipulation completely. They have to manipulate you to it for you. They manipulate you into inviting them in. They manipulate you into doing what they want. These demons, they're the Nephilim, if you want to call them that. They don't have physical bodies. They cannot experience the physical world as we people can. They are in the spiritual world and they are confined there. They cannot incarnate into physical form. So what do they do to get their sense pleasure? How do they get their outlets? They find hosts. And who are those hosts? Us. We are the hosts of dark forces and demons. But only if we want to be, only if we accept them into our being and allow them to commingle with our spirit. There is, I believe, no such thing as original sin. We are not I don't know if you can be born with demons. It's hard to say because I know, people in the womb can be put through satanic ritual by their parents and the people near them. And then, of course, the demons would attach to the mother with the child in her belly. And that might have some type of influence on the baby. But in that scenario, it's hard to say whether the baby in the womb is able to invite the demons in at that point. Because they're so innocent. Do the demons have some type of power there? I don't want to think so. I don't agree with that. It's possible to where these dark forces can attach to young, developing people through trauma, through satanic ritual, even in the womb. It's possible that these dark forces attach to them, but they're not able to dwell inside. They're not able to enter into the being and commingle with the spirit until the child develops, comes into their ego and their I is formed, and then they have the power of choice and they have their free will at their disposal. And then maybe over those years of the demons being attached to such a child, they will just readily invite them in because they've been living with them since birth. Maybe something like that can happen. I don't know. But yes, I see it to where there are three distinctions. At least that's what I've got going right now between, demonic forces. There are, encompassing all is the forces of darkness, is what I call them. And then within that sphere of the forces of darkness, you have demonic influence, where it's about that attachment to a person from the outside. Like those strongholds that are like, they're attached to the person, but it might not be inside and with your spirit. But then even further at the center of that sphere of the forces of darkness, that's where demonic possession truly happens. Where you fully invite the dark spirit in, and it gladly enters and takes hold and does everything it can to never let go. It will do everything in its power at that point in time to make you never want to let go and cast it out. Because you can. It's not like demonic possession is a permanent thing. You can cast out the demons, whether through personal relation to God and inviting the Holy Spirit in and, fighting the demons off, or through external exorcism and somebody else using the forces of light against the forces of darkness that reside within you. I think those are a couple of the options to rid yourself of demons. And that's called deliverance. Like, people do deliverance work where they are working with you to help you cast off the demons from within and cast off the demons that are attached. You've seen like the cartoons, it's like an angel and a demon sitting on your shoulder. You don't want the demons sitting on our shoulder. They don't really do us well very often. So there's that. I got a pipe. It's a very nice pipe. I do like it very much. Tobacco is tobacco, any type of tobacco, whether you're smoking it or taking it medicinally through other forms, like an extract or whatnot, it fights against COVID and the spike protein, and not just the COVID alleged virus, but the real disease of the vaccine. That's what is really plaguing people today, is the COVID vaccine. That's what's making people sick, I think. And that's from the proliferation and reproduction of the spike protein in your body. And tobacco helps stop that reproduction, and it helps inhibit the spike protein from producing more of itself. So even if you're not vaccinated with the COVID vaccine, those that do have it, that did get jabbed, there's this thing called shedding, which is, the real, like the spreading of sickness. They shed their sickness out from themselves through their excretions and everything, and that can make its way into other people. And tobacco, gives you a fighting barrier to that, to where if you're around people that are shedding, it can, fight that little bastard off right away. It's kind of like a demon if you think about it, except you're not really inviting it in, so it's not. It's actually, it's not a demon, it's a man-made power. It's nanotechnology, and it's like nanobiotechnology is pretty much what it's called, I believe. And vaccines, that's their biggest move with the nanobiotechnology. But really their bigger move today is putting it in foods. The vegetables you eat, in the meat, because they're giving these same vaccines to cows and other livestock animals, so that it makes its way into their body, their meat, so that when they're butchered and made into food, that's in the meat you're buying. Like, there is nanobiotechnology in the store-bought meat and food, produce. If you're buying meat, then you cook it, that gets rid, I believe, of a lot of the, bad stuff. But the real danger is cold produce that you don't cook, like apples, bananas, avocados, all these, shipped in produce that come from California or different countries. All of it is vaccinated and has nanobiotechnology in it, more or less. So that's, that's a problem. That's a real problem. Of course, all the fast food will have that same stuff in it. Like if you go eat at McDonald's, you can rest assured that you're being inundated with nanobiotechnology, as well as many other bad things. So, that's not being said to make you scared of food, because here's the solution. Buy locally. Form community with your local farmers and buy their food. Buy straight from the grass-fed cattle raiser, like where they just graze on the fields right where the people live, that can tell you that no, I've never ever given my animals vaccinations. I have raised them from calf to slaughter on this land, which my cousin does. So obviously there's people out there that do that, lots of them. Make friends with those people, make community, make connections. And this is the way out. This is how you don't rely on this store-bought food that has this poison and nanotechnology in it. that is turning you into, like, the ultimate goal is transhumanism. We know this. They tell us this. The ultimate goal is to bridge the gap between the physical body and the created technology of man. They want to bridge this gap and then merge. That's the goal. It's called transhumanism. So that'll happen in the future. There will be people who want to be a cyborg, and essentially we all already are. We all have nanotechnology inside of us. But it's really about how far we go with it. Because at some point in the future, there will be people willfully replacing body parts and augmenting their body with mechanical machinery and limbs and attachments, such as the whole Neuralink thing that Elon talked about years ago. That's just, like, him talking about that many years ago is just conditioning people into the thought of augmenting your body. Because a lot of people seem to think that this technology that we've created is harmless, that it's non-sentient and has no will of its own, which is essentially true. But what about the people that created it? They have a will, and of course they're trying to instill their will into the created technology. So you can't really ever consider this technology to be free of, deception and manipulation, because it's instilled with the people who created it. Like, it's instilled with their will, their evil will, their desire to control people. And that's just really not good. So, I don't know. I feel like that was a good little talk. I got a lot out in a short amount of time, so I'm going to call it good there. So, have a good day, and don't be a bitch.